Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, neighborhood pyrography artist, and I'm not joined today with Hubcap, which really throws me off. He's been live streaming with me for 3 years, but we're going to do this by ourselves today. Grandbaby's here, and somebody needs to keep Pop busy. So today, we are going to be detailing the thick fur of the alpacas. I could call it done now, but for me, it doesn't feel quite finished. And what I have done is I've gone and just put the white where I know the top of the flowers are so I don't burn over them. And hopefully everything sounds okay this time. Let me know in the chat if everything sounds good. And I got my phone up here so I can see what's going on and remember to look at it. Hey Kathy, Sheila, Mike. So we're going to get started. The main thing is just getting those darks in there, and not even really dark like here, which I still need to tighten up, but kind of a mid-dark that helps set everything off. So I'm heating up the 18S on 3. Remember, this is on basswood, and we are going to take a look at this fancy one right here, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can get in there. Remember, I'm going to be adding color to the flowers, so I'm not even worried about those right now. I'm worried about getting these alpacas darker. So I'm going to use the edge of my tip and I'm going to drag out, and it's kind of a C motion because the fur is going in that direction. So we need to keep going with the fur. But we're going to darken this up, kind of push it back. Maybe tilt a little bit, make sure. Yep, I'm going to go this direction. Just makes it easier. So let's get this darker. It's going to feel so much more complete if we take this time and get these different darks in. And I'm hoping you guys will see that. So let's get this in. And I'm just moving very quickly. If I stop too long, I'm going to get a blob. And I don't want the dreaded blob. So I'm moving quickly, paying attention to the direction of the layers. And how come my cat has not? There we go. Hey Spence. Hey Shirley. Hey Andrea. Alrighty. There we go. So just by darkening it a little bit, we start seeing the different layers of the fur. And the hardest part is knowing when to be done. See, I had thought about going ahead and adding the color like at the bottom of the, these flowers down here on the bottom that wouldn't be near the burning, and up on the top here. But it's still not going to look right if I'm not done with the burning. So that's why we went ahead and went along with this. And I tried to get it done, but you know how life seems to know when you're burning, and so everything else has to happen at that moment? Well, that's what happened. So it's just going to have to be okay. So here we can do the smaller strokes because this fur is shorter. And I'm overlapping. Just I'm using the end and edge of the tip to make a smaller mark. And I'm still going in the C motion. And I'm also still on 3 because I want it darker, but I'm moving quicker just so it balances out. So we're going to fill this in because I have that a little like whiter than the groups actually are. Hey Teresa! So I'm going to bring them in together. And all of it needs to go darker because even our lighter fur still has tone to it. It's not like a white. So I do need, and when I'm burning over a lighter area, but I want it to burn, I'm going completely flat and still doing the same motion. And that way I have that lighter burn, but it's filling it in and blending it out. Let's see, our darkest darks are going along here. So I'm just going between the edge and the flat bottom to kind of push it back. And as I push it back, we'll start having this different depth of the fur, and that's what we want. In places I can just use the tip and kind of tap in so we can get that shorter fur. Make sure we're in the right direction. There we go. Pull it out. Hello, Ruba. Is that Carmen? Carmen? Or did I miss Carmen? Sorry. Oh, there's Carmen. Hi, Carmen. There we go. Hey, Burl. I gotta remember to look up. Oh, I can hear the little one in there entertaining Pop-Up. And she does that. I missed hanging out with you guys last week, so I didn't want to do that again, even though the special Toasties got live on Saturday. Just moving around. And I don't know how much you're going to be able to tell compared to when we started. And here I can do even darker. Start separating out. Taking that time. It's a little dark. If we put a couple more in, it'll look like it was all supposed to be dark. Remember, sometimes if you feel like you messed up with a stroke, do that stroke elsewhere and it'll look like you did it on purpose. And then only you will know, or in my case, you guys will know because I told you. And all is good. So if I just put that stroke in a couple other places, and I do want to curve it, so I'm going to use the tip and kind of curve the fur. And I can always go back in with a knife and kind of lighten it up. Let's see here. So Ruba, is that your username or your name? Just so we know. So I know what to call you. And then down here, some more. You see now, because I've darkened this, now we can look over here and go, yep, that's still not dark enough. So we can slow down a little bit to use the same heat setting. Remember, it's all about pen control. Once you get comfortable with your pen control, you will be adjusting your burner less. Because you'll know if I go over here and I go fast, it'll be lighter. And if I want a darker burn, I just need to slow down. Alright. So if you're just joining us, Hubcap is being entertained by our smart cookie 4-year-old. So he's in his element. We're doing Legos. After the live, we'll do some homework. Get those ABCs into the brain. Just keep going. Now I can come back later with the 17M if I want to. I don't even actually need to switch. We got a curve here. And put in some of the more defined fur. Or I can actually stick with the 18S or 18M and do it with this pen. Let's reshape a little bit. And so it's going to be a matter of building it up over and over. And it actually doesn't need too much more. It's like 3/4 of the way there. Hey, Cindy. So up here at the top, we need to make sure, because remember the darker, on the head in particular, we're going to have two ways the dark's working. We're going to have the darker fur that's closer to the scalp and is receiving less light. Tonally, it's a darker fur because fur is all different colors, but it's also further back. So this helps shape the head. So we do need, and right here I'm using like the bottom top half of the tip, and I'm dragging down quickly to tone that fur. I can always reshape it later, but this way I'm getting some tone in there. We're not going to talk, Kathy. Cindy's at work, so we don't want her to get in trouble for watching. There we go. And see, now we're starting to get some of the layers in here. And this goes a little higher up, over. And it starts feeling more shaped. Because before, it was kind of a blocking in so that I could get to the point to start erasing the graphite. But now, we're doing those final details. And I am still looking at the reference because I just want to make sure I get my darks in the right spot. But as I get more of those darks in, I'll stop looking at the reference as much and start just going based on what I'm seeing in my burn. Because then that's part of the artistic process, is adjusting it the way you want it. Because maybe you want a dark alpaca instead of the light one from the photo. And that's where you would really start balancing those. Yay, Teresa's updating her pens today. She's getting more. Let's see here. Sorry. Just want to see if I missed anything. You guys are all... Steve. Saruba is Steve. Gotcha, Steve. I shall remember now. Well, should remember now. Alright, so just getting in, pushing some of that hair back, because right now it looks like, because it's all light, that some of this hair's all matted together coming forward, and that's not the case. Hair and fur lays over each other, so we get the different layers. But I am still seeing, I have not wiped the board yet. So I'm going to quickly use my eraser and erase, and you know what, we'll quickly wipe the board just so I can see what's going on. I'm probably not going to wipe down here until I get closer to being finished around the flowers so I don't lose anything. The white is helping me stay in place. So this is just denatured alcohol. I'm just going to dip a little bit in my jar. I don't need a whole lot. We're not soaking the board. Let's see. So it's wet. Actually, I didn't get it wet hardly at all, which is totally fine. And then I'm going to wipe. And this is going to start erasing and taking off the residue of any of the graphite I left. I may have to go back and forth a couple of times between the eraser and wiping. And see, we can see just doing this small area, we got dirt coming up, we got burning coming up, and we got a bit of graphite coming up, which is what we want. And it also allows us to see how dark this wood is going to go. Thereabouts when we seal it. Actually, sometimes the wood doesn't go this dark, but if we make that visual, okay, when the wood is sealed, it's going to be darker. I'm not losing burning. My lighter burns are pushing back into this into the tone of the wood now that it has been wet with the varnish. And so they become equal. The burning has not erased. It's just the wood has now become as dark as your lightest burn. So you have to decide how much more you want to darken your lights in order to not lose them. Again, they are not going away. It is the wood meeting the tonal value of your lightest burn. So just a little more erasing, and I know there's some graphite in my fur, so let's get that erased. And then I'll do one more wipe. Make sure you allow it to fully dry. And remember, when you burn over graphite, sometimes you can seal it into the wood because then the graphite is under the burn, and it can make the burn look a little dirty. So that's another reason to clean it. I know other pyrographers don't. Definitely a personal choice, but I have seen both less frustration in me trying to get the wood, the graphite off, and just a cleaner burn result. So that's why I always do it. So I'm just getting a little more because I did go on the light side, so it is damp. It's hard to see on this wet. On this white paper towel. I should have grabbed my blue one. Wipe again. And also, if you burn dark, what happens is you can smear the graphite, or the carbon that's left on the burning in your dark areas, and you can actually smear that while you're burnishing, while you're doing a brush on. So this helps clean all that off. And then we got less stress. So there, hopefully you can see about how much the wood's going to darken. So that's why. And then once the wood goes light again, it's dry and we can start burning. So we got to give it a second. You don't want it so damp that it takes 10 minutes to dry, because then you will raise the grain. The reason I use the alcohol instead of the water is the alcohol evaporates so much quicker and doesn't raise the grain like water will. Some people like to clean with water, so be it. I just choose not to, because I'm not interested in raising the grain. The grain is always already going to raise just a bit when we varnish it. So I can help alleviate that by using the alcohol. Alrighty. Oh, and if you haven't seen yet, and I did it only like 15 minutes before the live, I uploaded my first YouTube short, and that's getting started with a brand new Optima pen. Whether you've bought the whole burning set, or you just bought a pen, it's just the quick step you need to do before you get started. It was in response to another short that I saw today as well. Optima tips do not need to be annealed. They are made that way. They're a higher quality wire, nichrome wire, and they are made differently than the other pens. I'm going to do this real quick so we can get moving. It's still a little wet up here. It'll feel cool where it's wet, so it's still a little wet up here. It's drying here, so we'll work down here. So we can already see the burn is cleaner. I may have to do that a couple of times in order to just get everything off and get it the way I want. But we can get going. And any of the lighter graphite, like within the fur, once I cover everything up, you're not going to see it. I've been in competitions where they were really looking to see if you could find graphite, and I couldn't find any on mine because they were knocking people for that. And if you have the stubborn graphite, now the carbon paper will work differently. It's not going to come clean off your board like what the graphite will. I don't recommend the carbon paper for multiple reasons. And you have to be careful when it says graphite. A lot of the brands are still carbon paper. So if you're having a hard time removing it from your wood, more than likely it is still carbon. Alrighty, let's see here. Just checking. Don't want you to think I forgot about you. I'm honestly surprised grandbaby hasn't come to check on us. Because it'll become a, where's grandma? What's grandma doing? Why is grandma doing this? Which totally drives Pop nuts. Which is why grandma does it to him when she's not here. And she will be with us probably Friday. So we just having fun. We're doing a picnic at the lake on Wednesday. There we go. Alright, so now we're good. So I do also need, I'm going to have to, because of the camera and I don't want to go off, I can raise it. Let's try this. Yeah, you guys should still be able to see this. I do need to darken the faces, and I've already started darkening this face. Raise you guys up. There we go. Until I feel like I've got my contrast right, I won't stop burning. So I did start talking about that earlier. I'm gonna bump down to 2.5 just because, or 2 because I'm on the face. I don't call a burning finish until I feel like the contrast is where I want it to be. And then that's when I will say, okay, I keep doing things and it's not changing. It still looks the same. I mean, I might have a couple of things fixed, but overall, if I keep doing things and it keeps pretty much looking the same, no matter what I do, then it's done. There's just not much more to do with it. I'm not making any real changes. So that's kind of where I go off of as to whether a burning's done, is if the contrast is where it should be. So let's go move with the direction of the nose. And detail it out a little bit more. And we get the cheek that comes out here. And I'm just going with the bottom of the tip. Just running over it quickly because I don't want it too dark, but I do need some burning contrast in there. It's a little darker here than it is where the light's hitting it. You see, and as we start putting the face in more, we start really feeling it. Like, we got the nose light. So we have highlight at the top. It's actually not highlight. It looks like it's the fur. Create that curve following the nose. So we'll leave that lighter part up the top because it does help shape the nose. A little bit more. Again, I'm on 2 and I'm trying to use more of the flat. Sometimes I go up on the end. Trying to use more of the flat. Get a smoother burn that way. Now we're starting to get more of our alpaca fancy face. And anywhere I need to help define a shape, I can just go a little darker. Pull it out. Now we're starting to get more of a face. But even our lights have burn on this one. Let's see here. Now, what do you guys... Now, next week we absolutely will be coloring this. We absolutely will. But after that, what would you guys like to do? I know that you guys tell me what you need help with. And if I haven't done it yet, I'll see how to best work it in. Who's reading Spencer's mind? Oh, Kathy's mind. Spencer did. Okay. Let's say, did I say something? It feels so weird not having a hubcap in here. But hopefully now, yeah, miss the hubcap, and I will tell him. Because sometimes he doesn't think he does anything. And I keep telling him that he brings a certain something that we need. And he helps us. Alright, let's burn this darker. So make sure and leave a comment after the video so I can show him what you guys said about him in a nice way. In a nice way. Do I do anything abstract? Mike's asking. I actually have been wanting to look at doing some just to see, but I haven't. I'm the type of artist that I get really excited about a project if I can see the finished piece. I can figure out how I can get there, so I don't have a problem with that. But what I have a problem with is if I can't see the piece, then I have a harder time connecting with it, and so that would even go with abstract. And I have thought about it, and I'm trying to figure out how I want it to look. But my brain just works that way. I get less frustrated on some level, sometimes more frustrated because then I see it in my head, and if I can't get it to look like it does in my head, then I'll get frustrated with that too. But in general, I do better when I can see the piece in my head, have the layout the way to know what I want, and then I work to get it. Don't always get it, and sometimes that can be very, very frustrating. But I do learn in the process. So Andre wants to know, I have not done a full landscape. I have done like backgrounds for pieces, but I have not done just a landscape. Done a couple still lifes, I'm thinking. Yeah, I've done backgrounds, but I haven't done just a landscape. Oh no, that is not true. That is actually not true. I need to finish it, and it's the Grand Canyon. That's a landscape. So that I've done. That I've done. Totally forgot about it. Gotta get it finished. I've been liking burning on basswood for a little while. So I haven't gone back to the Grand Canyon in a little bit. It is strange without Hubcap's voice. I'm going to be hoarse after this because part of it is he talks and I can like rest my voice, rest my brain, try to focus on what I want to do here in a minute, and do so quietly without boring you guys because he's over here doing his thing, and that does help. Right now I'm just having to keep talking even though we're almost at 30 minutes already. Alrighty, so I will keep working on darkening the fur so that it has layers. Let me know, how much can you tell already based on just this quick? Because I started doing this the other night before, I found out I was burning and decided to interrupt again. But it will make a difference. And again, I've got the white here so that I know this is a petal and I don't want to burn over that. In fact, I need to burn behind it to push the flower forward. Yep, the Grand Canyon. Forgot about that. I do have my hands full with a 4.5-year-old, and a 51-year-old. Yeah. And if you think there's much difference in that age, you'd be wrong. Those are they're about the same age. Grandma's going to go help her with her homework and help her get her wiggles out. Because what 4-year-old can sit and do a long period of time doing homework? So Grandma puts silly music on and we dance around for the length of the song, and then we go back to work. She knows we're just getting the wiggles out. Now, the bigger question, are we getting Grandma's wiggles out or her wiggles out? That's kind of a toss-up. Yes. Whew. If only I could truly bottle her energy, I would feel so much better, could get so much done. Alrighty. So it still needs darkening, but hopefully you can see the difference already of how the dimensions of the fur, so that the fur closest to the skin is going to be darker, even if it's the same color as the fur on the tip, it's still going to be darker because there's less light getting in between that thick fur. So you're going to have a bit of shadow going on, and then it starts lightening up. And then wherever the sun or light hits it directly is going to be the lightest. And then if it's curvy or curly hair, it's going to curl away. And as it curls away from the light, it's going to start getting darker again. Oh, good. Yeah, it doesn't need much more. I burned this with the border with the 18 extra small on 3, and yes, it does burn that deep or dark on basswood, but now I need to clean it up and straighten it up. I'm trying to decide if we're doing color pencils or watercolor pencils or both, for the flowers. Yeah, it still needs more, and then we're going to pick gold to make it look like an actual frame, how you would, I don't think I have a frame in view. Where are we at? Over here in the corner. So I want it to look like the burn is the dark part inside the frame, and then we got the gold that's on top. That's how I want to make this look. But we also need to use white on that gold in order to get our really high highlights. Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg. So we got any questions? Oh, I talked the whole time. I'm tired. I am exhausted. Let's see if we have any questions. Again, I will use the whole bottom of the pen, dragging and doing the C's or dragging in order to burn the whole area, including the light spots, so that they're toned. And then I will go in and put in more darks to push the fur out. Because here, the fur it's thinner, it's grouped thinner, but it's also kind of poking out. And so we need that shadow underneath the group of fur in order to give that feeling of the fur poking out and not laying flat down. Oh, thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate it. I was worried we were spending too much on the alpacas and people were getting bored with it. But they're coming along. They're getting there. Still do need some darks, but we're getting there. And I will. I was going to say no matter what it takes, but every time I say that, life goes, you want to find out? We'll throw you something else. So I'm just going to say I'm going to work really, really, really hard, and we will do the color next week. Thank you so much, Carmen. I really appreciate it. Yay, I got Kathy motivated. Yes, I'm so glad. You guys can all do it. It takes time, patience, not only with the burning, but with yourself. That's extremely important. Be kind to yourself, because we are the meanest ones when it comes to our art. So you gotta be kind. And I gotta remind myself of that too. So I will have the Super Toasties talk in our super group to figure out what to do project-wise after these guys. Oh, I did want to say, if you wanted to become a Super Toasty, a paid member, and you can't do it through YouTube, for whatever reason, down in this description there's a Ko-fi link that you could do a monthly donation for the different price levels of whatever you choose, and you can do it through there. The only thing that won't happen is in the chat, you'll see, like, I don't know if you, well, I see it. I don't know. Oh, the little emojis next to people's names, those are the members. If you do it through the Ko-fi link, you're not going to get the emoji. So that's the only thing. I can't do anything like that. Oh, thank you, Shirley. Oh, I will probably do, there'll be a ton of lives on fur because I do a lot of animals, so we will get that done. We will get it done. I'll make a short or something about the membership more sometime, I think, later on in the week, because I only get a minute to explain it there. But if you're looking to join, you'll still be able to do the lives with the other members on Saturdays when we do that. You'll get all the other stuff. You just won't get the emojis in chat because you're going through a different account than YouTube, because YouTube is a butthead. And yes, I said that. Alrighty. We're going to wrap this up and go get my 4-year-old on. Thank you so much for joining. And there's something you guys got to say with me. And I really like this wireless mouse I got. Alright, say it with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. We'll see you next week. Happy burning. Bye. Bye. Does it work? Did you guys believe Hubcap was in here saying bye?